Okay, boys, so we're just going to do one more example on the multiplying. So this one says find an algebraic expression for the volume of this shape. So this is a rectangular prism. You need to know the volume of a rectangular prism formula. It's V equals LBH. So remember we're multiplying in between these. So let's just say that our length is 6k. Then we'll multiply by our breadth, we'll say is 2w. And then we'll multiply by our height, which is w. Now we're just following the rules for multiplying. So we've got 6 times 2 to multiply together on your calculator. That gives you 12. Then be careful with the letters. So we've got K, W and W. All the letters have to be on the end. So we're going to write the K down. But the W, remember, W times W is W squared. So you have to write it like that. And that's the answer to your question. Okay, now dividing in algebra, we're going to write all divisions as fractions. I've always told you that, and it's not changing here. If you don't do it this way, you will risk making a lot of errors on these questions. Okay, so when we do the fraction key on your calculator is going to do the numbers for you. That'll sort all of that out. But then when the letters come up, you're going to have to do some work on that crossing out from the top and the bottom of the fraction with the letters. I'll show you how that's done. Okay, so over here in the first one, you're going to do 12 over 3 on your fraction key and press equals. That will give you 4. When you do get a whole number like 4, just underline it, because actually that 4 is on the top of the fraction, and if you underline it, it will automatically be on the top of the fraction. Now, this one just has a letter X, and it's on the top of the fraction. There's nothing else, so we're going to copy it on the top of the fraction as well. So your answer is 4x. Now, this next one is a division, but we're going to write it as a fraction. When you do this, make sure you line up your numbers, and any letters that are the same, try and line them up as well. So I'm putting the M underneath the M. Okay, now we're going to our calculator fraction key. You're going to put in 18 over 6 and press equals, and it should give you a 3. Remember I said if you get a whole number, underline it, because it shows it's actually on the top of the fraction. Alright, now with those M's, I said over here that we're crossing out the smaller power or index. Now in this case with the M's, we don't actually have any indices or powers. If you wanted to, you could write 1 and 1 there for the M's. We don't need to. If you can see an M on the top and an M on the bottom, just cross them both off. We're crossing off one M off the top and one M off the bottom so we keep it balanced. And all the M's are now gone. There's still an N left there, and it's on the top, so we write that on the top. So our answer is 3N. You don't really need a gap in there, so we might just move that, slide it over a little bit. The answer is 3N. Okay, on the next one, again, go to your calculator fraction key to put that in, and that will give you 18 over minus 3 will give you minus 6. Underline it so you can show it's up on the top of the fraction. Now you've got a G on the top and a G on the bottom. You can cross one G off the top and one G off the bottom. They're all gone, so we don't write any down. In the next one, put that in your fraction key. Minus 75 over minus 25 will give you 3. Underline it. We've got X's here that need to be crossed off. Cross one off the top and one off the bottom, and all the X's are gone. We're left with Y and Z, and they're both on the top. Okay, the next one. Put this in your calculator. This time when you put this in a calculator, you're not going to get a whole number. This is going to give you 1/5. Now when you write down the 1/5, just extend the bar because we need to have room in case some letters need to go here. In fact, we don't need any room, but you didn't know that because we're going to cross off the W and cross off the W on the bottom. So these questions can get harder. The textbook at the moment for your homework's not very hard, but I'm just going to do a couple more just while I've got time. So if I gave you one like this, what you would do is put that in your calculator, fraction key, and it'll give you 2/3. Now remember what I said, extend that bar because you might need room. Now, this is one of the ones where you will be crossing out the smaller of the powers. So out of the 5 and the 9, the smaller one is 5. So we're going to cross all them out. Now down here, you can only cross out 5 x's because you only crossed out 5 on the top. So if we cross out 5 of them, we'll be left with 4 there. So if you look at what's sitting there now, you've got an x to the power of 4 and it's on the bottom. So you have to write it on the bottom. And that's the answer to that one. So I'll just give you, yep, I've got time for another couple before this bell goes. All right, so I'm going to write down another one. Okay, so if we look at something like this one here, you're going to put this in your calculator. That will give you 1/6. Extend the bar. All right, now when we look at the k's, you're crossing out the smaller power. So 9 is smaller than 16, so k to the 9 is gone. You can only cross off 9 of them down here. So it will leave you with 7 of them. So with the k's, we're left with k to the power of 7 on the bottom of the fraction. Now with the z's, you've got a z to the 4 on the top and just a z on the bottom. So I'll just use another colour. I'm going to put a 1 here because this doesn't have a power for me to look at. So if I cross off that z to the power of 1 because that's the smaller power for z, I can only cross off 1 z on the top. And that will leave me with a 3 up there if I cross one of them out. So I've got z to the power of 3 left on the top. And that's nearly the answer. The next thing we're going to do is just leave out that 1 there. Because there's no need for the 1 to be there if there's some other letters and things up there. So that's the answer to that one. Now, they're not going to be that hard in the textbook. I've just extended you a little bit further on this. But good luck in your homework. You should be able to do it.